Jason Wilde. Go ahead.
Hey, Davante, thanks for doing this. Great to see you. I guess you don't have to see us, which is also a win for you. I'm wondering two things. One, at any point, did you think about not playing, being a new dad and everything like that, and opting out? And two, can you give us a feel for what it's been like around the facility for you, the way things look different than the last time you were there, et cetera?
I don't really know. I definitely weighed all the options and looked in everything, all the protocols and everything. And, obviously here I am today, and I have no plans of opting out at this point. And I'm here to, I love the game. I love my teammates, and, I've put a lot into this. So, I kind of think about my legacy and everything when it's all said and done. And this is a tricky time in the world, but at the same time, I mean, it's something that I truly believe that we cannot necessarily run from. So with everything, with all the options weighed, and with everything taken into account, obviously I'm here and I decided to play. But what was the second part of that again?
Hold on. Go ahead,
just how different things are around the building, and how you kind of feel about all the protocols. What kind of give us a glimpse of what it looks like as you go in the locker room and everything else?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot different walking into the building. Obviously, it's much more safety protocols and different things that we necessarily didn't have to go through before. But it's a lot of necessary things that give people like me, like you said, I'm a new dad, so being having a lot more stations where there's, things set up to, sanitize and things like that. People are obviously sanitizing within the weight room and different things that we didn't have in place before. So, I don't have a problem with anything. It's going to definitely take some getting used to, but definitely don't have a problem with the way anything is set up right now, because, it's everything's put in place to make sure that guys like me and guys like, whoever, even if you're not a parent, just to, kind of give you a little peace of mind, and at least know that the club, if not the NFL, is doing everything that they can to make sure that you stay safe and keep the other people around you safe.
Bill Huber.
Hey, Davante, thanks a lot. You didn't seem particularly thrilled when your ranking came out in the NFL Top 100. How much did that bother you, and is that something that really fuels the fires out, something that just kind of comes and goes in a moment?
Nah, man. If anything, when I get on Twitter, I don't, as it pertains to lists and things like that, when I weigh in on things like that, I don't even let that stuff motivate me. Honestly, it's not even. I'm self-driven. I know what I'm about. I think everybody truly knows what I'm about. My competition, my teammates, and other coaches, and things like that. They definitely know what I'm about. So at the end of the day, it's just more so just to give the fans and the people something to see and interact and have a little fun with it. Because at the end of the day, none of that stuff matters. It doesn't go into how much you get paid. Doesn't go into, how your next season is going to look, any of that. So it's more so to just have a little bit of fun with it. Obviously, I mentioned that I don't believe that the players had anything to do with the list this year. And I still kind of believe that, just because based on my body of work and, the respect that I know that I have from the players across the league. There's even been a bunch of people that reached out to me and said that they didn't even vote. So they don't even know what algorithm is being used to even, come up with that thing. So, I don't let that stuff bother me. I don't really care. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. And, I'm more so watching it to, cheer on the other guys like George Kittle, who, breaks the record for the tight end. He's the highest ever on the tight ends list. So, and, see my teammates, Aaron Jones getting his number 33, that's a lot of respect for him and a lot of work that he put in. And, it's just a fun thing to watch at the end of the day. But as it pertains to me being 57, clearly don't agree with that. I think I put in a lot of work I think a lot of people agree that obviously there's going to be people who don't, but there's a lot of people that agree that there's not 56 people better than me in the league. But, that's just going to continue to be shown through my work and, this upcoming season.
Jim Ozarski.
How did the social justice messaging from earlier this offseason come across your phone, your plate, from the other players? And then what kind of role did you seek to take with the team then, you know, in terms of the messaging that you guys put out as a club and as teammates?
I wouldn't say that I led the charge on anything per se, but it was definitely something that I wanted to be in the forefront about because it's something that I'm incredibly passionate about. And, you know, it's a really big problem. I wouldn't even say it's a big thing. I like to call it a problem in America. So people like me who have the platform and have a voice that people will listen to, I feel like it's imperative for me to step up and do my part. And, you know, it's not just about the tweets or, you know, the videos and stuff like that. There's actual things that, you know, that we can do. So having conversations with a bunch of different people, I've talked to different people around the league, not just on my team. So the videos and stuff, all that stuff's cool. And it's a good start to get going, to, you know, kind of get everybody's mind on it. But, you know, the more we continue to beat it, and it's not just a movement either. I think people get lost in, you know, thinking about just the BLM and, you know, Blackout Tuesday and stuff like that. All that stuff's cool and it helps bring awareness, but we need actual changes. So, you know, I'm here for the long haul. I mean, it's tough being in a place like Green Bay where it's not necessarily perceived as the right thing to do at all times, but it's just the right thing in general. And I think that's more so what I'm focused on, and everybody else as well. I've gotten a lot of support from other teammates. Other people around the league have reached out to me to, you know, there's been police officers that I've spoken to that I necessarily didn't speak to before, letting me know that they're in my corner. And, you know, when people like that are reaching out and they're also echoing the message, I think that's when we start to make a little bit of progress and start to, you know, head in the right direction to getting where we need to be.
Mike Spofford.
Yeah, along those lines, Davante, you said you weren't at the forefront of that with the other guys in the league. Do you plan on being more at the forefront of that with this team? And do you have specific things you'd like to do or like to suggest and talk to your teammates about doing this season with regards to those issues?
Absolutely. Truthfully, I don't even know what the forefront means for that. I mean, I would like to say that I'm definitely one of the people that's standing up for this and continuing to beat that message and make sure people understand how serious it is, because a lot of people have put out things on Instagram or, you know, on Twitter, and it kind of just faded away. But, you know, you see me continuously stressing these things. There's a lot of different cases where, you know, two weeks or days after the George Floyd murder, where people are still having, you know, situations where they're having knees put on the back of their necks. And, you know, there's obviously, I don't think there's a whole lot of us that just hate all police. Like it's not about that. It's about making sure that people understand that the bad cops or the bad NFL players, the bad anything, are the people that need to get dealt with. And that's where the reform needs to come. You know, I'm in the forefront definitely as it pertains to this team, because, you know, I'm definitely a leader here, and I think people look up to me and they understand how serious I am with it. So there will be things that we discuss as a team and necessarily won't be discussed in the media, but you guys will eventually see the action that we are trying to take as we move forward.
Olivia Reiner.
Hey, Davante, thanks for taking the time to chat with us today. 5 of the receivers in your room are going into their second or third seasons in the league. When you were at that point in your career, which elements of the game at the professional level were starting to click for you?
I would say, I don't know which elements in my game in particular, but I know that the camaraderie between myself and Aaron Rodgers, you know, that's when I started to really start to feel a true connection between us, because obviously it's not something that's just built overnight. So longer you go, then the more reps you get and the more comfortable you get within the system or within yourself. And you know, you start to establish what type of player you are. A lot of different things that changed for me over the first couple of years going into my third year. You know, my body was starting to change, and I figured that wasn't just about bulking up. There's a million things that you can change and start to evolve as a player. So I think a lot of the guys that we have now are starting to come into that. We all started from square one together with this offense. So I think that, you know, they're starting to get a little bit more comfortable as they get used to being in the NFL. That takes a little bit of a second to adapt from the college, because obviously the game is different, and then it goes from being just a thing that you're doing. School is really what you're doing, and then football is a second. They kind of are half and half. But then once you get in this position, this is your job. So once people start getting used to that, I think that's when they start to lock in a little bit more and hone in on the details. And being in Green Bay is one of the most attention to detail. I don't even know what phrase to use, but obviously what it's like dealing with Aaron Rodgers. The attention to detail is at an all-time high. So you're starting to see that awareness start to raise, and I think we're going to be in a really good spot going into this year.
Steve with the AP.
Just in regard to the receiving core, obviously lots been made of no receivers drafted, Devin opting out. Just what do you see? Or is there anybody in that receiving core helping you out who's you think is kind of on the verge of a breakthrough? Anybody you would want to single out or point out who's really impressed you at this point?
At this point, I mean, we've been in the building for like 2 days, so it's tough to make a true assessment on that. But obviously there's guys that, Alan Lazard is one of the guys that he's shown that he's really talented player on the field, and he's coming into his own confidence-wise. And I think once you start to have that true confidence, and it's not just something that you're saying, if somebody asks you, who's the best receiver in the league, and then you just say it's yourself. I mean, that's what you're supposed to say, because that's the right thing to say, receiver mentality-wise. But once you start to truly believe that, you're a really, really good player, and and your role on the team and all of that, I think that's when you start to have Alan Lazard. And really excited to see his, I don't know if you call it year 2 or whatever, this next year jump for him, because he's a lot more confident. The coaches have obviously shared with the media, with the rest of the team, how they feel about him. So I'm really excited to see that. I'm excited to see Jake Kumro and how he goes into this next year. Equanimous, obviously he was hurt last year, so seeing how he bounces back from that's going to be big. It sounds like I'm listening to everybody in the room, but it's a much different room than previous years, where I could just, I don't have to talk about Randall Cobb or talk about Jordy Nelson. It's a lot of young guys in that room now. And, I'm also really excited to see how Marquez, bounces back from how he did last year. Obviously, he did a lot of great things, but, there's a lot that he wishes that he could have back, and he's definitely taking the right steps now. So, as we get closer to being on the field, all those guys are doing all the right things right now.
Rob Domofsky.
Davante, thanks for doing this. Good to see you. With Aaron, you know him obviously better than probably all of us, and know him really well. How do you think he's going to handle the fact that, they took Jordan Love? What effect do you think that has on him in the locker room, on the field, and the way he performs?
I don't think that it'll have any type of effect on him. I don't think it's going to drive him to be a better player, or, have him, sunk in a hole. I think, Aaron's a lot like me. I'm a lot like him, however you want to put it. Truly confident players who know what they're capable of, and know what they've done, and that continue to work to be better than what they were. We don't necessarily need, I don't care if they brought in Julio Jones in here. That's not going to necessarily make me work harder, because I'm already a workhorse and I already know that I'm trying to be better than what I was last year. So, them bringing in a rookie quarterback, I mean, extremely solid quarterback, and, it may have shocked, we were all expecting, it's no secret, we were all expecting to have a receiver drafted, but, that wasn't the case. So, Aaron's going to come in balling and doing his thing, and, he's got the right mindset. So I'm not sure what he's shared with you guys, but just, my perception of it is that, he's just going to be Aaron. And, I saw something, which this means absolutely nothing, but I saw something that said that the last couple of times he was named outside of the top 10 of the top 100 that he won MVP. So we can't rule it out. It's happened before twice, so we'll see.
Tom Silverstein.
Hi, Davante. Good to see you. I'm not sure to what lengths you went to when you're in California in terms of staying away from this virus, but you make your living with your body, and health, I'm sure, is really important to you. did you talk with your wife and about how during the season you can remain healthy? What kind of, precautions you can take without just being a hermit?
To be real with you, I have no problem with being a hermit, man. I mean, aside from the COVID and all that, like that takes it to a new level. Obviously, it makes you think 3 times rather than twice about whether or not you should go do whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't do much, man. I'm a simple man. I work out. I live and breathe wide out play, and I love my family. I got my daughter there, and with COVID and everything, obviously, I mean, I left my house maybe 10 times this off season for something unrelated to getting food. I got a beautiful house in California, so I was able to do my chipping, get my golf in at home. I got a basketball court, so not to flex on anybody, but there's not much that I needed to leave the house for. So, I got my Xbox there, so I can kind of get it in and just do me at my house and, work out, do all that stuff and anything I need to leave the house for that I absolutely need to. But being in Green Bay, I mean, it's a beautiful city, but there's not a whole lot out there that's going to drive me outside to put my family at risk at this point. So hermit it is.
Mark Daniels.
Hey, Davante, good to see you. Thanks for the time. Just your reaction to not getting a chance to play with Devin this year with his decision, and back to the other guys in the wide receiver room. You've been a part of a consistently productive wideout room. I know each of those guys had moments last year. What does it take to get a collective group to perform at a consistent level?
Well, first on Devin, I mean, that's a personal decision, and I have no, I respect anybody that's made that decision this year, because there's been guys across the league. I built a relationship with Marquise Goodwin, and people are getting backlash for this, not knowing what everybody's story is, man. I mean, people have family affected by it. Devin has a daughter. He's had a bunch of family that has gotten sick. He's lost some family members. So at the end of the day, I mean, life is about more than football, man. It's personal decisions for everybody. At the end of the day, you got to make that call. One of my best friends, Geronimo Allison, decided he wanted to sit out this year due to, the birth of his new child as well. So, grown men got to make grown men decisions. So, I mean, I won't ever look at him any different for making a decision, because, I mean, he's thinking about his family, and you have to respect that. If you can't, then those are the people that you don't really need to even worry about their opinions. And as it pertains to the wideout group, I think that, like I said before, everybody's doing all the right things right now. It looks like everybody's in pretty good shape coming back in. So they took care of their business in a time where it's not necessarily easy to work out and do all the stuff that, based on past years. I know a lot of guys do big groups and work out in these big facilities and things like that. And, having to switch it up and work out of garages and things like that. No one's looking too skinny, and people look like they can still run. So they've already done that and checked that box. So as we move into training camp, it's really just going to be locking in on the details, making sure they continue to study and be assignment sound, because that's what Matt's going to be looking for. He's going to be looking for all the guys that would stay locked in throughout the whole pandemic, and continue to take it serious now. Like you said, the consistency is what's going to be the thing that carries us to the next level. So, continue to make plays. Obviously, consistency there's many different facets of it. So I think everybody has the right mindset right now. So I'm excited to get on the field with them.
We have time for 2 more. Tim Van Vorn.
Hey, good afternoon, Davante.
Hey,
I'm as seriously as you take your business, I'm curious what type of example or message you hope to send by what you say or just through your example in terms of preparing for football over the next 5-6 weeks while balancing the health and safety issues that you guys all face.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily – it's going to be pretty easy for me because, like I said, I kind of set the tone this whole offseason. I was in California with many distractions. Obviously, a lot of things were closed down, so that helped with a bunch of stuff and staying in the house. But I'm a homebody, so at the end of the day, it means a lot more to me to keep my family, my coaches, my teammates, and everybody else in this organization safe you know, going out. I could obviously go hang out at all the Green Bay clubs, but I decided that I'm just not going to do that this year. I'm just going to stay at home and do what's smartest for the team, man. And hopefully everybody else has that same mindset.
Wes Hodquits.
Hey, Davante. Thank you for the time. I hope you and your family are doing well. I just wanted to kind of follow up just with the training in your off season. What kind of adjustments did you have to make to all this, you know, from a professional sense to be in the shape and condition you wanted to be in reporting for training camp?
Not a whole lot changed for me because I, again, not to flex, I have a home gym. So I was able to get a lot of what I had to, you know, on my weightlifting. I did a lot more treadmill running, so I guess that was a little bit more of adjustment. I got a decent sized area where I can get some field work in, but I can't really do the outdoor conditioning, or I couldn't early on at least, until I started working out with a few other guys and doing a little social distance route running, I guess you could say. So things started to ramp up and get a little bit more normal toward the end of the off season, just as things kind of relaxed, but you know, still remain smart in how we moved. But like I said, a little bit more treadmill running, some interval work and things like that I necessarily didn't do before, just because, you know, just running on the grass is just a little bit more football for me, and I enjoy that more. But you got to make adjustments. So I was able to you know, hit up Chris Gizzy and have him, I sent him pictures of my weight room and had him specialize a workout plan for me throughout the offseason that I could do, just to, you know, make sure I'm staying on top of my game.